Hey everybody, it's Lisa. I wanted to show you how I production pieced these little 4 patches that are going into the modified barn star. We have a lot of them. Let me show you. Here's just one of the blocks of 2 that have these. This is a 2.5-inch patch, and I have to cut my strips at 1.75 so that they'll finish at when they're in here at 1.5. 2 of these are 3, and then this whole patch that goes into here needs to be 2.5. So I have my seam allowances. So that's the brief mathematics on that. So let me show you how I can quickly cut and get these quite accurate. I like to use my quilter slide lock. I am right-handed, but I work from the right to the left, and I don't like to flip my fabric around after getting it all straightened out. I'm lazy that way. And these quilter slide locks have a really thicker than a ruler cutting edge, and also for those of you who may have some arthritis, as happens as we get older, it's really easy for you to hold on to. So I'm measuring from 1.75 inches from the right, and then I'm making my cut. I need to make 2 strips for this. One in this beautiful colorway, which adds a little bit of brightness, and it is what I am using in the center block for my sawtooth stars. And then the pairing, of course, is in this beautiful butterflies fabric that I shared with you. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that strip and not drag you through it. All right, I have my 2 strip sets that I have accurately cut, and I am going to starch them and press them together. Yes, ideally I would have starched the fabric before I cut it, but for this demonstration, just pretend that I have. And then I'm going to sew this with a scant 1/4 inch. All right, where possible, I like to save time and ensure that I have accuracy by using my stripology ruler. And typically you would cut these, and you would the width of your strips. This is a 1.75 strip, top and bottom, so you would typically cut at 1.75 and then sew the 2 together. But I'm going to do a little bit of a shortcut. I'm going to double my pleasure. So I'm going to cut these at 3.5 inches, and I can do that with my stripology ruler. I've got a lifetime supply, it seems, of Post-it notes, even though Gudrun has a very nice little strip. I'm cheap. I use my stuff, and that works well for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up so I'm cutting off my selvage. Let me bring this in view for you, so that I'm lining off my selvage, and I can cut it at 3.5, 7, 10.5, 14, 17, and then along this edge here, which is 21. Now I'm going to show you how I like to line my strip up. I like to find this is a white line here, and I'd like to see a line that's continuous. And what I like to do is roll my mat, and you'll see this in a minute. I've got a little fold here, so that's another thing. I should have checked for that. If I got a little fold in my fabric, let me fix that. Okay, I'm going to put my strip as straight as I can on my mat, and then I'm going to take my stripology ruler, and I'm going to line up this white strip here, and I'm going to take it so that my first cut, which is right here, is going to take off this selvage. Now, one of the things to do when you're lining these up, put a little bit of a weight on that, is sometimes you have to roll up and straighten up your strip. And it's worth taking just a couple of minutes to do that, because then everything is going to be perfect. Or I should say perfect-ish. And I've got a little piece here. Normally doesn't take me this long, so you might go, well, geez, after all that futzing around, I could have done it a lot quicker. And maybe so, but most of the time it lines up pretty well. All right, so here we go. We're ready to cut. This is my first cut. It doesn't matter which way I go. This is why I like my stripology ruler. It is fast. No furiousness in it. All right. So then what I do, this is half the strip. And I've got these 3.5 inch pieces. And then I'm just going to do this because I'm going to put them together. And you'll see what we're going to do with them in just a moment. So this is going to give me 3 pairs. And then do the very same thing again for the remainder. I think what I'll do is put my selvage on the this far side in case I don't have enough. I can get that. And again, we're doing the same thing. I'm looking at my thinnest line and then holding it down and just straightening it out just a little bit. The weight of the mat keeps it down, even though it's a non-slip. It really isn't. It will slide over top your material, so I do like to just go ahead and put a weight on it. You'll never be sorry for that. But you see how quick this is. Okay, put our ruler away. Now, what I'm going to, same thing here, we're just matching the opposite edges. And then I'm going to do a scant 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut here. I'm going to sew here and here on either side. So, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to cut it in the middle. So you don't need to see me sew. I'm just sewing scant 1/4 from here to here. And then I'll show you how we cut it. Yes, I have a ruler fetish and I'm not ashamed of it. So I like to try things out. This is a Stripology Mini, and it's perfect for this application. Now, just to tell you what I did, when I left the table, I matched them together, put a little dotted glue on both sides, and I pressed them together. And I made sure that when I sewed it, I'm working with the material completely flattened out. When I was done sewing, scant on either side, I went to my machine, to my ironing table, and I pressed it. So these are pressed, and this is what I'm going to do. It needs to be 1 1/4. And for this particular ruler, I'm going to line up this area here. And I've got a line up here to make sure that I'm straight. Or I can use, this line here. And this is going to be, and I can see that my stitching lines are, right here, right exactly where they need to be. So I know that I've sewn straight, and I'm just going to cut right here at 1.75. So this goes pretty quickly once you've oriented your eye to, you know, where you need to be. You do want to be straight. You want to cut on the right line. And I think you'll see that there's some real benefit to using this method. And you have a lot of visuals in to spot if you've done something wrong. Not the least of which is the fact that this line, which is 1/4 inch in, and this is the 3.5 here. I can see that, you know, everything is lined up the way it's supposed to be. Most important thing is to make sure that you've matched these correctly and not put white on white, which I managed to do with a couple. Don't ask me why. But, you know, sometimes you're pushing yourself a little bit too hard and you get tired, especially as we get older. Alrighty. I really like this method a lot. I hope that you'll try it. And these little cutting mats are nice. I work. I'm a business consultant, so I still work. So I don't have a lot of time to quilt. So if people look at me and go, "Why the heck do you have so many rulers and stuff?" These rulers that I have help save me time and money. So here's my perfect 4 patch. And I like to twist it. So just pick it up, twist it, and then I'm going to go ahead and press this, and we can take a look and see how I did. And I'm just going to give this a little press. And let's see what other nifty ruler I can use. Of course, I can use this as a trim up. It's easier to, in my view, to not use this, but since we're doing it, just play along with me. So we're looking at 3.5. Let's see, what the heck am I doing here? So I don't normally do this. I don't normally use this to square up. So yeah. I'm not comfortable with that. Sorry, I'm not going to put you through that. Oh, I'm looking for 3. I'm looking for 3.5. No wonder I'm confused. It's supposed to be 3. Please forgive me. Now that now that we're working with a full unit. So here is the middle piece to it, and I can just line that up, and I have a line here, a line there, and I should just have a sliver that comes off. That's where we use the 0. Nothing came off there. Okay, my eye is not trained to use that little thing to square up so I'm going to go back to my tried and true square up. This is my simple folded corners. But I also have a great tucker trimmer that would also work. That would be quite easy to use. So you always use what makes sense for you. And this is a 3-inch block. So I'm looking for my 1/2-inch mark to be here in here. And you can see that this method is pretty accurate. I've just got threads, threads coming off of here. And I like to I do move my ruler around a few times before I, So again, just little slivers that, that are coming off. So this is a really great, accurate way to make your So I want to show you. Now I made a mistake here, and I'm not really sure exactly what I did, but you can see that that I'm off a little bit on marrying these. So I wasn't careful, and that happened. It didn't happen with all of them, so it must have been a little bump in where my things came together, and I really just didn't notice it. But it kind of falls into the, you know what happens. And here, just coming, just coming over. I'm doing this more to show you. These are just slivers coming off, and I could actually, sew this without trying to trim this up, but there's going to be maybe something that's not just a sliver or a hair or a whisker or whatever you might want to call it. And if you need to do a little rotary trim meditation, you can do that too. So, that's not a little bit there. So it's just a little bit of a rough cut. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these and come back. Okay, let's take an assessment on this method. Number 1, I've got 9 perfect 4 patches. I have 1. I don't know what the hell happened, and I would not use this. That is that's just too much, and I'll put that in a bag. And you can see the accuracy in the method because this is all the trimmings, and you can see they're just threads width for 9 blocks, 4 sides. So I hope that you'll give this a try. And the takeaways are that it will save you some cutting time. It makes a very accurate block. I really didn't have to trim these, but I wanted to show it to you, particularly the small pile of trimmings at the end. So it's really very accurate. The other thing I wanted to share with you is how this Stripology Mini made really short work out of, let's get the right side of, cutting these to measure. You saw me struggling with trying to use this for trimming my block, or 2-3 inches, but that's just because I'm a dumbass sometimes, and I just am unused to using this ruler. So my eye was not acclimated. Again, when we sew, we have a lot of muscle memory, but I came to my handy dandy simple folded corners, which serves as a really great square up block. So I've got tons of blocks. Well, I've got 9 blocks. I should have had 10. And I got to share with you some of my favorite tools and a method that you might want to try. Thanks for joining me. Check back with me and see how my progress is being made on my modified Barn Star. And I will tell you, it is a challenging quilt for me. I've not made it before, and I can see some tips and tricks that I probably could have used, but I really didn't know about at the time. And that's part of the learning process. If you make a quilt pattern or a particular block, you are finding for yourself things that work and things that maybe don't work. And when they don't work, they can not work in a big way. And for myself, I have found that I've had to unpick more blocks and either sew a scant or sew a full, even though I made a test block. So I'm not sure what I did incorrectly. Obviously, I wasn't paying attention. But the point is that, it's still a learning for any of us when we're tackling a new pattern. But I'm really loving the pattern. I'm loving doing it, and it's been a lot of fun to work with this beautiful fabric. So, as always, I hope you're working on something that brings you joy, and I hope that you'll join me again. See what's on my cutting table, on the ironing board, under the needle, on the design board, and maybe we'll learn something together. See you soon.